Hello, my name is the very Reverend Walter Bruce, and in the 1640s I was pastor of the local parish church, Inverkeithing Church, then called St. Peter's. It was I, in my zeal to root out evil, that did petition the Parliament to pass an act for the hunting of witches, so that we might destroy evil and anyone that challenged the authority of the good and righteous church. My favourite Bible verse is from Exodus 22. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. From 1649 to 50, upon this very hill that was then called and part of the Witches' Knoll, I did burn over 50 women of ill repute, lowly, poor women who did threaten the authority of the church. I burned them upon stakes on this very hill, so that their bones were but dust and would not rise at the last trump. They were feminists, herbalists, hermits, healers, widows, midwives, free thinkers, mentally challenged people, all that might mock the righteousness of the very Reverend Walter Bruce. I actually did burn a few people that didn't quite put enough money in the plate. I, the very Reverend Walter Bruce, did hire witch hunters and paid them generously out of the church purse, 20 shillings per head, so that they might be efficient in identifying the evil that lurked in this village amongst the women. In Edinburgh, they did dunk the women, and if they drowned, they were not witches, and if they lived, they were burned. And this was the common way of testing witches. But I, the very Reverend Walter Bruce, did have a much cleverer way of testing. We pricked our witches. The witch hunters did produce a pricker, very much like this retractable pen, and prick this stripped and naked wench in her skin that did draw blood. And then we looked in even every private parts, that we might righteously root out evil, and retracted the pen and plunged it into the mark of the devil, and miraculously there was no blood. A witch! A witch! She must be burned! Burned! For the sake of righteousness! If they were lucky, we garroted them or strangled them before we burned them. Or if they were not so lucky, or one of the people that was not so generous with the church plate, they were burned alive. The presbytery did not, seeing the righteousness which I sought, did suspend me most foully from my role, when they saw that I was running out of parishioners to burn. But in their wisdom they did restore me to my office, and then elevate me to the very high office of constant moderator of the presbytery, for my service, my noble service to the church in its holy righteousness. This story in Scotland was repeated in these 12 months 1,500 times. Only one village in the whole of Fife has reversed the terrible sentence they did pass upon these innocent women. The very Reverend Walter Bruce, that is I, am buried in a churchyard in a place of high honour. These poor, lowly women who were much respected and did threaten the authority of the church because of their wisdom, still have their remains scattered upon this wretched hill. There is no repentance by the church. There is no marker to mark this tragedy and this innocent sacrifice of helpers, of martyrs, of women. The Church of Scotland is